Ashtavakra now unveils the higher knowledge, the direct recognition that the self is beyond body, mind, and world.
Right, and this chapter really lifts the seeker into the absolute highest vision of truth.
It really does. And welcome everyone to today's deep dive. Before we jump into all of this, I want to invite you to subscribe to the Simplified Awakening channel.
Yeah, make sure you do that.
Definitely. Like the video and please share your reflections in the comments as we go along. We really love reading your thoughts.
Absolutely. It's always great to see how this material lands for you.
So today we are getting into chapter 6 of the Ashtavakra Gita. And, this chapter emphasizes a kind of supreme knowledge that just completely dissolves ignorance.
Yeah, it points to the self as being infinite, entirely untouched, and totally beyond all dualities.
But the thing is, you can't really grasp the sheer weight of this without knowing who Ashtavakra actually was.
Oh, exactly. The backstory is crucial.
Right. So we're pulling from the ancient Mahabharata here. This isn't just some guy sitting in a tower writing theories.
No, not at all. It's born out of, well, a pretty intense lived reality.
A really brutal one. So let's set the stage. We're in ancient India, and there's this renowned Vedic scholar named Kahor.
Highly respected guy.
Super respected. He's a master of the ancient scriptures, very orthodox. And his wife, Sujata, is pregnant.
Right.
So one day, Kahor is sitting near his pregnant wife, and he's reciting the Vedas aloud, just chanting these complex texts.
As scholars do, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But then, and this is wild, a voice interrupts him.
And it's not just anyone's voice.
No, it's coming from inside Sujata's womb. The unborn child actually speaks to his father.
Which is just, imagine being in that room.
It's crazy. The baby says something like, "Father, even lying in my mother's womb, I've already learned all the Vedas, but you keep making mistakes in your recitation."
Oh, wow. Just picture the absolute shock of that. You've got this celebrated scholar, right?
Right.
A man whose whole identity is built on his flawless mastery of these scriptures.
His whole ego is wrapped up in it.
Exactly. And he is being accurately corrected by a fetus.
It's almost funny, but it establishes something so foundational for this entire deep dive.
Right. It proves that pure awareness, the true self, isn't something that develops biologically.
It's not like you get older and suddenly acquire a soul.
No, the knowledge is pre-existing. It's totally independent of the physical vessel.
But Kahor does not see the beauty in this moment.
Not even a little bit.
He is humiliated. His ego just flares up into this blinding anger.
Because his pride is on the line.
Exactly. So he actually unleashes a terrible curse on his own unborn son.
Which is just horrific to think about.
It is. He basically says, because the child was crooked in his speech-like, pointing out the father's errors, he'll be born physically crooked.
And the curse actually works.
It does. The boy is born with 8 severe physical deformities, like his limbs are all twisted and bent.
Hence the name, right?
Right. They name him Ashtavakra, which literally means 8 curved or, deformed in 8 places.
The symbolism there is just staggering when you really look at it.
Oh, so?
Well, think about it. The physical body of this child is quite literally mangled by the ego of the previous generation.
Oh, wow. That's a powerful way to frame it.
Yeah, the father's pride, his anger, his need to protect his status, all that false ego stuff, it physically traps pure consciousness inside a broken biological shell.
So he becomes this living metaphor for the human condition.
Exactly. We are all pure awareness, but we find ourselves in these physical forms that get sick, that decay, that get judged by others.
Yeah, we suffer the consequences of other people's unconsciousness.
Absolutely.
So the tragedy gets worse. Kahor, the dad, travels to the royal court of King Janaka.
Because he needs to prove himself, right?
Exactly. He's still chasing status. He gets into a high-stakes debate with Vandi, who is basically the undefeated champion of scholars.
And these ancient debates were no joke.
No, the stakes were literally life and death. Kahor loses, and the penalty is that he's drowned in the sea as a sacrifice.
To Varuna, the god of the oceans.
Right. So Ashtavakra grows up fatherless, bearing the physical scars of his dad's anger.
But despite the crippled body, his intellect is just unparalleled.
Unmatched. And by the time he's 12, he decides he's going to King Janaka's court to face Vandi himself.
A 12-year-old boy.
A 12-year-old physically disabled boy going to the epicenter of wealth and elite scholarship.
You can just picture the scene, right? All these aristocratic thinkers and their finery.
And in limps, this kid, bent in 8 places, leaning on a staff, And the scholars actually laugh at him.
They try to keep him out.
Yeah, they judge him entirely on his twisted exterior. They figure he couldn't possibly have anything to say.
Which is the ultimate illusion. It's the exact thing he's going to dismantle in his teachings later.
Mistaking the container for the contents.
Right. They assume a broken body means a lesser spirit. They're totally trapped in appearances.
But he doesn't back down. He speaks. And his mastery of the ancient texts is so undeniable that they literally have to step aside.
He forces his way in through sheer wisdom.
And he challenges Vandy, 12-year-old kid versus the greatest mind of the era. And he completely dismantles Vandy's philosophy.
Wins the debate, rescues his father from the ocean.
It's an incredible triumph. And the legend even says that after he won, he bathed in a sacred river and his physical deformities vanished.
Though he kept the name Ashtavakra forever.
Right, as a testament to the journey. So why are we telling you this long story?
Because it frames chapter 6 perfectly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When Ashtavakra delivers this higher knowledge, he's not just spitting abstract theories.
No, his very existence proves that the self is entirely separate from the physical body.
Right. And that is the mission of our deep dive today. We're exploring this supreme knowledge that dissolves the illusion of the physical world.
But we have to make a really crucial distinction here, based on the text preface.
Oh, right, the warning about the cul-de-sac.
Yeah. This cannot just be an intellectual exercise. Philosophy, as just a mental game, hits a dead end.
Why is that? Why can't we just figure this out with our brains?
Because your intellect is a tool designed to measure and categorize the physical world. It operates in duality.
Like there's me, the knower, and then there's the object I'm studying.
Exactly. But this non-dual philosophy points to a reality where the knower and the known are the same thing.
So you can't use dualistic mind to grasp non-duality.
It's like trying to use a tape measure to measure happiness. It's the wrong tool. This has to be experiential knowledge.
A direct seeing of reality that bypasses the ego.
Because the ego is part of the illusion.
Right. And as we jump into the verses, I want to give you all a little listening prompt. Keep an ear out for Ashtavakra's bold declaration that the self is completely beyond the cycles of birth, death, and physical change.
That's a huge theme.
It really is.
Yeah.
So let's unpack this. Chapter 6, verse 1. Ashtavakra says, "Boundless as space am I. The phenomenal world is like a jar. This is knowledge. So it has neither to be renounced, nor accepted, nor destroyed."
Boom. Right out of the gate.
Okay, let's unpack this, because that last sentence, neither to be renounced, nor accepted, nor destroyed, that is wild.
It completely flips the script on traditional spirituality.
Seriously. Usually, spiritual texts tell you to run away to a cave, give up all your money, and fiercely destroy your ego.
The whole warrior mindset.
Right. But Ashtavakra says no. We shouldn't renounce it. Let's use his analogy. He talks about a clay jar holding air.
Okay, yeah, let's visualize that.
So imagine this simple clay jar sitting on a table. There's empty space inside the jar, and there's infinite space outside the jar.
Right. Now, is the space inside the jar fundamentally different from the space outside?
Not at all. It's the exact same space. The clay is just putting up a temporary boundary.
And if you smash the jar with a hammer, what happens to the space?
Nothing. The space doesn't bleed or break. It's completely undamaged.
Exactly. And that brings us to the commentary on this verse. The text talks about lower stages of spiritual practice being focused on this concept called Laya.
Laya. What does that mean, practically?
It translates roughly to the dissolution of the mind. It's that active, aggressive attempt to transcend the world.
Oh, like the monk meditating in the freezing snow, fighting his own thoughts.
Yes, fighting to kill his desires, trying to destroy the ego.
He's basically looking at the clay jar and thinking, this jar is a prison. I have to smash it to be free.
Precisely. But Ashtavakra is teaching higher knowledge here. He's saying that trying to destroy or renounce the ego is actually a trap.
Wait, why is it a trap?
Because if you are exerting immense effort to fight the ego, you are implicitly validating that the ego is real.
Oh, wow.
You're treating the clay jar as if it's an actual threat to infinite space.
By declaring war on it, you give it power over you.
Exactly. The realized one sees the world merely as an appearance. The Sanskrit word is prakrita. It evolved out of nature, but it doesn't bind the pure self at all.
So you don't need to put in all this immense effort to escape it.
Right. The space inside the jar was never actually trapped, so fighting the jar is just exhausting yourself for no reason.
That is so freeing. We don't have to violently detach from our lives to be spiritual.
Not at all.
So for everyone listening, here is your second listening prompt. Notice how Ashtavakra teaches that the world is merely an appearance, not a binding reality you have to fight against.
It's a very gentle approach, really.
It is. Which leads us to the next big visual in verse 3. He says, "In me, the boundless ocean is the imagination of the universe. I am highly tranquil and formless. In this alone do I abide."
The imagination of the universe, that's a heavy concept.
It really is. I mean, calling the whole universe an imagination.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it ties back to the classic Advaita Vedanta concept of adhyasa.
Superimposition, right?
Yes. The text brings up these ancient examples of superimposition to explain how the illusion works, like mistaking a rope for a snake.
Oh, let's talk about that one because it's so relatable.
Go for it.
Imagine you're walking down a dirt path at night. It's dark, shadows are everywhere. You look down and see a coiled shape. Your brain instantly screams, "Snake."
And your biological reaction is totally real.
Oh, yeah. Adrenaline spikes. Your heart is pounding. You're in full panic mode. You might even scream.
Because your body believes the threat is real.
But then someone shines a flashlight and you see it's just a piece of old rope.
And the fear vanishes instantly.
Immediately.
So look at the mechanics there. Was the biological fear real? Yes. But the source of the fear, the snake, never existed for a single second.
Your mind just overlaid a terrifying story onto a neutral object.
Exactly. The text also mentions seeing silver in mother of pearl, or hallucinating a pool of water in a desert mirage.
The sunbeam on the sand, creating an illusion.
Right. In all these cases, there is a foundational reality. The rope, the sand, the shell. But the mind imposes a localized illusion over it.
Okay, so mapping that back to verse 3. Ashtavakra is saying the boundless ocean of consciousness is the reality like the rope.
And the universe, with all its forms and planets and egos, is the snake. It's just temporary waves and foam on the surface of the real ocean.
Okay, but I have to push back here.
Please do.
If the universe is just an imagination, just waves on an ocean, why does it feel so overwhelmingly real to us?
That is the million-dollar question.
Right. Like, why do we suffer? Because when someone loses a loved one or gets sick, that doesn't feel like a mirage. It hurts.
It hurts deeply, and the introduction to our source text actually addresses this brilliantly with the analogy of a prism.
Ah, yes, the prism.
So imagine the pure self as a beam of unbroken, pure white light. It's formless, it's tranquil.
Just pure awareness.
Right. But then that pure light passes through a glass prism. And in this case, the prism is the human mind, our biology, our conditioning, our traumas.
And when light hits a dense prism, it shatters into a million colors.
It refracts. The unity becomes duality. Red, blue, good, bad, pleasure, pain. The ego is just consciousness limited and distorted by the mind.
Just like light distorted by a prism.
Exactly. So the suffering happens because we identify with the tiny, limited color beam instead of the infinite white light.
We identify as a fragile wave instead of the ocean.
And if you think you're just a wave, of course you're terrified. You know you're going to crash on the shore eventually.
But the state of tranquility he talks about, that happens when you realize you're the water.
Yes. When you realize you are the ocean, you stop panicking every time a wave crashes. The waves still happen. Life still happens. But you rest in the unchanging self.
That is incredibly comforting. And it brings us to our third listening prompt for you all. Listen for the comforting assurance that this higher knowledge isn't something you have to strive and sweat for. It is a direct, effortless realization of what you already are.
Effortless, that's the key word.
Which flows right into verse 4. Ashtavakra says, "The self is not in the object, nor is the object in that which is limitless and stainless. Thus it is free from attachment and desire and tranquil."
So what does this all mean for us practically?
Well, let's look at how we normally live. We constantly project ourselves into objects.
Oh, all the time.
We say, "I'll finally be happy when I get that promotion," or "I just need that new car or that relationship and then I'll be complete."
We put our sense of completeness inside the physical object.
Exactly. We think the peace is inside the car.
And Ashtavakra is stepping in to sever that exact link. He's breaking down the psychology of desire.
How so?
Well, he describes the true self as limitless and stainless, meaning infinite and completely uncorrupted.
Right.
So, logically, how could something that is infinite possibly be contained within a limited object?
It can't. You can't fit the ocean into a teacup.
Exactly. A corporate promotion or a fancy jacket cannot possibly contain the infinite happiness you are looking for.
So we're basically demanding that these fragile things give us something they literally don't have.
And when you deeply, truly realize that the object does not contain your happiness, what happens to your desire for it?
It just naturally falls away. You don't even have to force it.
Right. You don't have to aggressively practice asceticism or force yourself to stop wanting things. The attachment naturally dies when you see the truth.
Because you realize you are already the consciousness existence bliss that the text talks about in the introduction.
You are already what you're looking for.
It's just so profound. When you bring it all together, the overarching themes here are just massive. Freedom from birth, death, and change.
Liberation through simply abiding as pure awareness.
Yeah. And what's fascinating here is how radically different this is from the modern world we live in.
Oh, it completely contradicts modern hustle culture.
Right. Even modern spiritual seeking has become a hustle.
Totally. We treat enlightenment like it's another merit badge we have to earn. Like, if I meditate for 10,000 hours and do the perfect yoga poses, I'll achieve it.
We treat it like a grueling corporate ladder.
But Ashtavakra says the self was never bound to begin with. Bondage is literally just a preoccupation with the objective world.
It's just obsessing over the clay jar.
Exactly.
And I want to address you, the listener, directly on this point. Because if you're listening to a deep dive like this, you have the persona of a learner.
Which is great, but...
But it comes with a trap. As a learner, it is so easy to think that true wisdom is just accumulating more facts. Like, if I just read one more book, I'll be enlightened.
But Chapter 6 warns us about that. Intellectual gathering is a trap if it ignores direct experience.
Exactly. True wisdom isn't an addition of facts. It is a subtraction of illusions.
It's dropping the false beliefs.
It is the direct recognition of the inner freedom you already have.
So, if we had to pull out the ultimate takeaway from all of this,
Let's hear it.
the core summary is this. Higher knowledge is the vision of the self as ever free.
Ever free. I love that. And I want to leave you all with a final provocative thought to mull over today.
Something to really think about.
Right. So if Ashtavakra is right, if you are truly the boundless space and the entire phenomenal world is just a tiny clay jar resting inside you, then what does that make your biggest, most stressful problem right now? If you zoom out to the perspective of infinite space, does that single jar even matter?
Does it threaten the space? Not at all.
Exactly. So just sit with that today. And please, drop your thoughts on that final question in the comments. We really want to read them.
Yeah, let us know how that reframing feels for you.
And don't forget to subscribe to the Simplified Awakening channel and like this video.
It really helps us keep making these deep dives.
And you won't want to miss our next one. We are going to continue this journey by jumping into Chapter 7 next time.
Oh, that's going to be a great one. We get to explore the disciple Janaka's deepening realization after he hears all this incredible truth.
It's going to be amazing. Until then, remember, you are the ocean. Thanks for joining us.